Today on the table is an actual repair from a friend of mine. He's at Wholesale Nutrition in Point Loma, San Diego area, and he owns the nutrition shop. And I go in there for my supplements for working out and whatnot. And he got to talking one day about watches, and he said that his father had just passed away, and he has his watch that he needs restored. So he asked if I'd be willing to do it. And I said, yeah, I'd be more than happy to give it a shot. As we can see, there's some damage on the dial, and it is missing the minute hand, and the seconds hand is actually broken, and so is the crown. So when I go to wind it, the crown actually wants to move as well. And if you look closely, it is running just barely. You can see the seconds hand moving right here, and I want to make sure that we get this thing running operable. So I ordered new hands, hour, minute, and second, and then ordered a new crystal because it's obviously missing the crystal. And then I ordered the correct crystal because the first one I ordered was wrong. And I'm going to try to patch that porcelain dial. So while we begin disassembly, a little bit about this watch specifically. It's a vintage Arabic dial which tells a story of cross-cultural style and swift craftsmanship because the movement is Swiss. It's a mid-20th century Swiss watchmakers produced movements in bulk, often from factories like FHF or A. Schlid. These were then sent abroad to be cased and finished by regional markets. In the Middle East, demand grew for watches that reflected local culture. That led to dials featuring Eastern Arabic numerals, often sold by local jewelers under their own names. Inside, the mechanics were solid Swiss designs, reliable service, and built to last. And as you can see, it is running. I gotta fix that crown. I need to actually do some solder work on it and then ensure that it doesn't damage it any further. What actually makes this watch special is not just its movement, but its identity as a piece of global trade. It shows how horology adapted to language, culture, and personal style, creating timepieces that were both practical and meaningful to their owners. So that's just a little bit about this specific watch and what I was able to discern and find. I can't see any markings or any serial numbers are visible. So as I let down the tension on the mainspring and take the stem out of the crown, we're going to begin disassembling. I'm trying to figure out how I want to attach this, and I think I have some ideas, but we'll fine-tune it. So for now, let's enjoy the disassembly, and I'm gonna run into some problems. I'll cover those when those happen. Normally when I do these watches, I have a particular order, and I usually take the dial off first. And this time, I was in a rush, and honestly, I didn't take the dial off immediately, and I should have, but it didn't hurt anything. I did eventually take the dial off so that I can get to the underside, get the pinion removed so I can get the center wheel as well. So, little setback there, nothing too major, nothing was damaged. And the center wheel comes out pretty easily. Then the mainspring bridge, keyless works all right there. The mainspring actually was replaced as well with a newer one. I didn't record that because it's just putting a mainspring in. It pretty much comes coiled up, and you just pop it in and close the mainspring barrel. It's really actually pretty simple. Dial side is actually what gave me the most trouble, and you're going to see me fight with some parts and pieces on it. And lessons learned there. Taking the keyless work spring out now for the yoke, and the spring I thought needed to be replaced, but it actually did not. It was just a little bit warm, but it still works just functionally. The request was to use original parts to restore it, so when I could, I did. And as you can see, it's quite dirty, has some wear marks. It's got a couple of maker's marks on there, but I wasn't able to discern any history from that. So again, I have no idea which Swiss movement this is. As I clean the parts, I like to put the balance back on the on the plate, and that protects the balance and the hairspring. And sometimes getting it aligned is a little tricky, but that's my personal preference for cleaning. So that's why I put the balance on the plate just solo. With the individual parts and pieces cleaned, it's time to tackle this case. Initially I thought that was tape and it would come up, and yeah, that was not going to work. So isopropyl alcohol, 99%, and elbow grease. That's how I was able to remove this Scotch tape adhesive. I think it was Scotch tape. And then I hit it with some silver and nickel cleaner, basically just jewelry cleaner, and it came out pretty well. You're gonna see in real time as it cleans up, but the hardest part was just getting this adhesive off, and yeah, I had to fast forward through it. It took me a significant amount of time to clean it all off. A couple of sprays of IPA here and there, and then just keep working it. Alright, now to try to tackle this crown. Look, I'm not great at soldering. I can get it done, and I understand the concepts of it. So I'm tackling something a little bit outside of my comfort zone. I did a little bit of research, and yeah. So I did the best I could. My first iteration, which is what I recorded, didn't hold up so well. So I actually had to do it a second time, and I didn't actually record that one. And the second time actually came out a whole hell of a lot better. And you'll see that with the final product. And I actually do nickel plate this piece. And that caused a problem later on down the road with fitment. So I had to remove the nickel on the inside while still keeping it on the outside. So this piece, when the final iteration of it is done, it'll be completely soldered, sanded, filed down, sanded, and nickel plated. So it should be pretty secure for a while. But yeah, you get to see me troubleshooting through and trying to figure out the best way to do it. And again, it is not clean, it is not pretty, but it is functional. Kinda like me. Alright, now to work on this dial. I'm using porcelain patch kit, so it's just a liquid porcelain basically, and it's supposed to fill it in and be sanded flat. I can't sand too vigorously, so the patch is going to be visible. I can't make it go away entirely. Dial work is a whole hobby by itself, and it is a prestigious hobby. I'm not artistically capable or handy enough to do dial work reliably. So I do the best I can, and I use the porcelain patch kit, and I do make small sanding sticks so that I can fine tune sand and try to make it as good as possible. I I think I did an okay job when it's all said and done, but I mean, I did my best. How about that? Now with the chain, this is a simple brass chain, and at first I tried to use some of my metal on metal lubricant for watch repair, tried to get it inside. I know there's a spring underneath, and I know the spring is old, but I can't get to it. I don't want to damage the clasp any more than I have to, so I use a few methods. Some synthetic oil, the watchmaker's oil, and then finally WD-40. I mean, the good old faithful. It gets it better, but it's not perfect, and I didn't want to risk causing more damage to this family heirloom than absolutely possible. So I cleaned it as best I could, and I got it as almost as perfect as possible. You're gonna see me kind of pry it a little bit and see what I can give, if I can pop it out a little bit, if I can get to the spring and replace the spring, and all kinds of things. So eventually I just get it as good as I can, hit it with the ultrasonic cleaner, hit it with some jewelry cleaner, shine it up a little bit, and pretty much leave it alone. I did contemplate nickel plating it for a while, but the request was to leave it as brass, so that's what I did. Okay, so the click is not engaging. I have the spring in the wrong spot. It needs to be in between the teeth of the click, and that's not where it's currently at. So I had to take that off and reseat the spring in the right position, and that will allow the click to actually click and stop the the ratchet wheel from going both directions. It should only go one way, and winding the mainspring. So let's see if I got that resolved this time, and it looks like I do. So just a quick fix. Alright, so here's where I messed up. I put the keyless works yoke on upside down, and I realized that after I put it on. Now, you get to watch me at 400 times speed for the next, I don't know, in real time I think it was like 30 minutes, where I tried to get that off. For whatever reason, it did not want to come off. That damn thing was on there. So, I fight with it, and I worry about bending it, and I do everything I can to try to get it off. Finally, with some creativity and some wedging from the screwdriver, I am able to pop it off. But there's another problem. The screw on the left side of the keyless works shouldn't be there, and it's going to actually hit the keyless works itself and stop it from operating. So I fixed that off camera after I figured it out. I actually got frustrated, walked away, and came back to it once I ate something and then sat down with a soda and looked at it and figured it out. So that's a learning experience right there. Stop putting the yoke on upside down, and also stop using the longer screws. So yeah, we're learning every day here, folks. So stay tuned as we continue to learn, and you get to watch me struggle. Ongoing adventure. Alright, now putting the balance on, let's see if it'll kick to life. I've got enough wind on the mainspring that once it sets into place, it should start. And there it goes. Alright, so we have power. I can see the escape wheel moving, which means the pallet fork is bouncing. Let's secure this screw down. Looks pretty strong, actually. I'm really happy with the performance that it's going with now. And again, this is a new mainspring, so I didn't have any doubts that it wouldn't kick up, but you never know. And here is the nickel-plated retaining ring. I have it soldered, I have it sanded, and it should fit. And now let's give it some fit testing. So this is where I discovered that the nickel plating on the inside has caused it to be a little bit too tight. It actually causes so much pressure on the main plate that it stops the hairspring and the balance from working. So after I realized that, I stripped the nickel from the inside of the retaining band, or retaining ring, and then she fits like a champ. The other issue that I had that threw me for a loop for a while were these are new hands. So yes, they fit, and yes, they work, and yes, they look good. However, they're not perfectly fit for this watch. The hour hand is perfectly flat. So what eventually will happen is at a certain time, that hour hand will hit that seconds hand and stop it. And when that happens, it won't allow the seconds wheel to move, which will stop the escape wheel, which will stop the entire watch. Also, that minute hand is just a bit too small. So I eventually will sand the inside of the minute wheel so that it fits a little bit better. And then the hour hand, I have to actually bend a little bit up so that it passes by the seconds hand. All that will take some time and troubleshooting to figuring out. I go through multiple iterations because I see the watch stop and I try to figure out why. At first I thought it was these retaining screws causing too much pressure on the retaining ring like it was earlier, but I had taken the nickel off, so that wasn't a problem. You see the watch stopped right there after I put that first screw in. Just horrible timing. I try to kick it up and I try to make it run. I loosen the screws, and I do normal troubleshooting that you would imagine would cause that. If you make a change, unmake the change. So I go through a few iterations of troubleshooting, and then finally I'll flip it over and realize that the hour hand is touching the seconds hand. And that's when I start to manipulate the hands so that they fit a little bit better. So you get to see me walk through this process and troubleshoot as I go. And this is when I discovered that the initial glass I purchased, though the correct size, does not fit. The pinion and the center post are too tall, so here is the correct glass. So you get to see me glue this in. This is a domed glass which allows space and room. So this is a it's a special glue for jewelry. And yeah, it dries pretty quickly, so you'd see a stringing, and I eventually get it everywhere. So I had to use a razor to clean it off. But it's solid. It's on there. It's not coming off for the next 20 years. And that is actual glass and crystal. So it is period. Probably what the watch should have had, or probably did have. But yeah, no, go to cleaning it and making it all nice and pretty as I put it back on. So we're coming to an end of this, and I'd like to say thank you for watching if you stuck around this long. It's a longer form video showing a lot more of the restoral process that I have, some of the trials and tribulations that I go through each time. Every new watch is a puzzle, and that's why I love this hobby. It keeps me sharp and it keeps me focused. So here it is. I polish it up a little bit more before I return it, and I clean up the inside dial a tiny bit more. There's a piece of paint in there that I get rid of, but overall this is as restored as I could get it. It is a little bit fast, but that was by design, so it's as regulated as I can get it. It is an old watch, and it has seen some wear and tear. But yeah, she cleaned up great. She operates strong, and overall, I'm really happy. So thank you for watching. If you'd like, leave a comment below, tell me your thoughts, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next watch. Have a good one.